Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Very exciting. Rod, Joe, Brian, Christina, and everyone else who's out there watching. Thank you so much for stopping by today. It's an exciting day because I believe just via a little link Christina sent me earlier, I have been able to download Blender 2.82. And I thought, hey, we're going to do a little bit of Blender stuff, mostly 3D or DAZ Studio stuff today. So I was thinking perhaps I can start by installing Blender 2.82 and then loading up Steve's logo that Christina has kindly turned from the font into an actual kind of 3D object that we can use. Oh, dog, neighborhood dog, unbelievable dog fight out there. And then we're going to put that into the little animation that I have been rendering yesterday. Speaking of which, perhaps before we get started, let's have a quick look at what it looks like. If I can find it here somewhere. Yeah, sure, no problem. We will. I'll probably need 5 minutes anyway to. I think it's in Urban 7. There we go. Oh yeah, let me also go and start my pointer focus here. And I believe I've made some renders in animation V1. So those are all the still images here. I don't think I need any of those anymore. I've got the file. I'm just going to go and delete all of them, just so that I get a bit of extra room on my hard drive. Free it up. I'll leave it in the waste paper basket just in case there's something I've forgotten. This one was just a test, I believe, just a quick test. That's not the animation, by the way, but that was with 500 iterations. So I'm hoping I can get away with less for the final version. This, on the other hand, is the final. Not the final, sorry, it's an animatic that I've rendered overnight. So let's have a look at that a few times and just see what kind of an impression we get here. I've also put it on the 3D Shenanigans channel. If you want to have a look at animatics that I produced during the streams, that's a good place to go. I'll post both final animations as well as works in progress like this one in there. So this is the 3D logo I whipped up yesterday in Blender, just so that there's something there at the end. And I think the camera pan works quite nice. I don't think it's quite final yet. I had to do a couple of tweaks that I'll explain to you in a moment once I get my chair in the right position here. And so this whole segment here, the end of it, works really well, I think. And I like the idea that we're slowly revealing where we are with the camera kind of panning, looking at the end of the alley, and then actually we're panning into something else, and whoa, there we go, we're revealing the thing we would actually like to see. So there we go. Rod, animations really take your last nerve, aren't they? So I was trying to watch your trailer just earlier. I may have misplaced the link. Would you mind posting it again in the chat? That'd be really nice. So there's a few things that I like to do differently. Most of it is there, and especially the last part, I like to tweak the camera in this beginning part. Let me just show you what I mean. When the camera starts moving out here, I think it points more or less straight at the wall. So I would like for the camera to turn right a little bit more, and then we pan to the left like we do right now. Just so that one keyframe that just needs to go just pan to the right just a tad, and then we just make that whole camera movement a little bit more interesting. I don't think I want to go up and down in this. I think I'm going to leave all of that in place. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to replace this logo. I'm going to have a look at Christina's blend file, and then we'll see if we can put that in. And then the third thing that I'd like to have a look at is this. I'd like to pan to the right, look at that wall on the right, and then we move over to the left. That's the idea here. That's the idea. Thank you so much. Is it safe for work? Can we show it? I'd love to show it, and maybe we can just have a little look. Let me know if that's okay, Rod, and then we can see what your animation looks like. The launch trailer for Chapter 7. I'm very much looking forward to that. World premiere on Twitch. So that's the plan. So yeah, the third thing I'd like to do, if possible, I'd like to try my hand at a little bit of a little bit of background action. So in particular, does this pause when I do this? Oh, it does. Perfect. So in particular, I would like to have something happening there in the background, literally right at this bit. So perhaps a car that just goes, and while we pan from here to there, it just goes and drives left to right, just in the background. That's one thing. The other thing I'd like to do is have a person just from the back walk slowly down this alley. We don't even have to see the person from the front. It's like just a shadowy kind of figure that just walks around here. That's the idea. That'd be cool. Don't know if it could be a cartoon figure, it could be just a regular person, just so that we get from the corner of our eye, we get just some movement here. I don't know how easy or how feasible that is, but we'll try that. All right, so that's my animation. Let's have a look at Rod's animation, shall we? This is exciting. Currently available only from Rod's Lair. This is a set I'm using, by the way, Urban Future 7 by the Venerable Stonemason. Okay, secure connection failed. Rod, what's going down? Let's try an unsecure connection. There we go. Oh, it's got audio as well. All right. Is the audio, is there, oh, right, that's 3 minutes long. That's amazing. Is there any copyrighted music in the audio that I'm allowed to not to show? Will I get into trouble, Rod? Taking a big risk here, Let me know. If I do get into trouble, I can't show the trailer. Even though I'm happy for you I'm happy to get into trouble for you if you like. Also, have I set up my audio here? I'm not entirely sure if you'll be able to hear the audio properly. I could mute it. Yes, I could do that. I'll take a risk. I just don't know if the audio is set up. Give me 1 second here. Well, I'll show you my face. Well, I'd have a quick look if that is. I just need to quickly add this to there. Namely this. That's what we'll do. We'll add that to there. Okay, perfect. And now I think that's not correct. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself, and then we're gonna watch Rod's trailer here. One moment. The rise of the Vesoth. I like it, Rod. I like it. A lot of work has gone into that, I'm sure. So there is something. Absolutely, absolutely. So there is something there's a little bit of advice I can give you on when you put these types of stills together. There's an effect. It actually has that name. It's called a Ken Burns effect. And that is if you have a still image and you would like to portray that in an animation, you can go and essentially zoom in ever so slightly while you're showing that. So over period of like 10 seconds, just zoom in there just ever so slightly and focus on one subject matter. That gives that whole thing a whole bit of life, but you don't have to animate things. So it's just like a post-production effect you can apply. Very exciting to see that as a launch trailer, though. I must say that's very cool. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Rod. That's very nice. And you know, world premiere was here. This is cool. I love it. Very nice. Let me go, if I can go and do some, let me put that audio back, which was that here? Was that here? No, that wasn't it. It was, was it this? This is it. This is it. Perfect. So I'll go and take that out. Then I do, I believe, hang on. Then I do that. Does that work? No, that doesn't work. This maybe, this, and then I do that, and then I do that. Does that work? Yes, I think we're back. I think we're back. Yes, good stuff. And you can all still hear me, right? Just making sure. Oh, in Photoshop, my goodness, that is very adventurous, I must say. I put this, the Urban Future animation together in Photoshop. I like using Photoshop to put together these little, what's it called? These little image sequences. There we go, Blender. This is Blender, and let's go and extract that somewhere sensible. Perhaps the desktop. That is always sensible, isn't it? Let's go and put that on the desktop. Nice. Blender 2.82. Christina, let me know if what's changed in Blender 2.82. So we'll probably see that in a moment ourselves, just to get a heads up if there's any major features I should be aware of. I'll go, and since this is going to be on my desktop, just as a, before I move it elsewhere, I'm going to go and head into my regular Blender Foundation folder, and I'll copy my config folder. I think config and scripts, I'll go and copy those. I believe that's how it works. I like this kind of practice, And I always forget, whenever there's a new version of Blender, I always forget how to actually do this. Oh, okay. Perhaps it's not such a good idea to install it. We'll see if it works. I'm in for a bit of, experimentation. Steve and I, while this is installing this thing, Steve and I did a quick test this morning from his location to do a stream, and it worked okay. So I hope Steve's going to be joining us. He's probably fast asleep still, but today at 7 p.m., so in about an hour and a half, he wants to do a test just after my stream. So it'll be good. Maybe if you have some time, let's join him. Let's see what it looks like. It works, so that's good to know. We ironed out some kinks there, and I've been spending most of the day editing 2 more episodes of the Streaming 101 series. So there's episodes 6 and 7 are now available also for Patreon supporters. Have a look. If you are one of my supporters, have a look. Yeah, they're ad-free on Patreon. I want to make that a feature, that my videos going forward are going to be ad-free on Patreon. It'd be nice to just, get the adverts out. Much like subscribers to this channel on Twitch. So those things, oh yes, so copy those, then we go to the desktop where Blender 2.82 is. In 2.82, I'm going to go and paste that. Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks for letting us know. Really, my scripts are 2 GB in size? Very much doubt that, but okay. Windows, if you say so. Can you see that here? That's kind of crazy. I'm just ever so slightly. This was like 2 GB when I copied it. Have I got that many scripts? That's bizarre. Crazy. Or maybe it's the settings that are like really, really large in my current version of Blender. I was not aware. I thought it's, a couple of 100 MB. What we spend most of our life doing, watching some bar go from left to right. Oh yeah, the animation, just another technical detail. The animation from the beginning, the Urban Future 7 animation, that took yeah, replace. Go on. And that took about 6 hours to render in total, just with one computer, just with the RTX 2080, in about 800 by 360, I believe. Actually, I'll leave that over here. And I don't think I'll need to start that in administrator mode because it's not anywhere crazy. Run anyway. The Stitching Blender Foundation. Come on, world premiere Blender 2.82. Thank you for the link, Christina. That is where you currently get the latest version of Blender from. It looks like I can't really. Let me run this as administrator just for this session. See if that works. So it didn't quite start without administrator permissions. Neither does it start with administrator permissions. Yeah, that's iRay. It's a really relatively complex scene. So I'm glad I didn't do anything nasty to that Blender installation, but it looks like it ain't happening. That's okay. We'll go back to Blender 2.81a. Not quite the world premiere I was hoping for, but hey, one of those things. Can you imagine this one also doesn't start? That'd be so funny. No, this one does start, so this one's okay. Okay, so no Blender 2.82. Perhaps needs more work. Maybe there's a reason why the guy stopped the release. I've downloaded Christina's file of the logo. So I'll go and delete my cube and I'm just going to go and open the whole file, which is on the desktop, Urban 7. Did I paste that in here? Blend files, there we go. No, I didn't do that. Oh. I could have sworn I put that in there. Well, let's, in that case, let me just go over and dig that out. You did put that in the Blender chat, right, Christina? Blender General, there we go, logo.blend. Why? Oh, because it's in downloads, that's why. It's because it's in downloads. Logo.blend, there we go, that's it. So let's just go and put that into here. Logo.blend, I'll call that backdoor by Christina. What? No. So here, this is a Windows thing. Where's the cancel button? I don't want to do any of these things. All I can do is okay. That's terrible. Actually, backdoor by Chris, that sounds even better. I'll put that in blend files too. Blender by Chris. There. And now we can open that. Nicely done. Yeah, I can see that working. Because if we look from the side, then all this is just going to go and poke through. It's going to look nice. It's going to look nice. Let me just analyze how you did that here, because you had nothing other than the font as well, right? I would imagine. This is now an actual 3D object, which is exciting. And you put a subdivision surface modifier, displacement modifier, and a smoothing modifier on here. They're all active. Right, that's how you did that. So since it is already a 3D object, I should be able to, I just want to make it slightly more embossed so that I can poke it through a little bit better. That is possible, right? Since it's a 3D object, I should just go and say GZ and S and Z, and that should do that. Yeah, perfect. I might actually do that in Dash Studio, just so that we have, did you know that I don't have to put, yeah, cool. On the displacement modifier. Right, that's the texture. Yeah, very clever. Very cool. That is very cool. And then just we add a strength. Oh, that's nice. Steve's going to be super happy about this. Let's try and get it out as waveform OBJ. And that I'll put into geometry files. And we'll call this one backdoor V2. Haha. Scale for Dash Studio. I think that's, remind me, that's going to be like, that has to be larger or smaller. I always forget that. I'll leave the scale at 1 and we'll see what it arrives as. Because I have a feeling right. I've just looked at the amount of vertices in the, can you see that here? That's probably the number of vertices that the scene has combined. So yeah, we'll see how DAS handles that. It's still exporting, so it looks like it's going to be a bit of a large OBJ. Still working on it. Will Ralph be joining us tonight, Christina? Is there anything else we can teach him? Right. Right, Ralph, herzlich willkommen. Vielleicht können wir dir noch ein, zwei Tipps und Tricks im 3D-Bereich zeigen, wer weiß. Let me go and open Urban V5. And then we load both scenes up here. Yes, Christina, I will do that. I will, just for a laugh, I'll import it like it is right now, just to see if that's actually possible. And then I'll go and increase the height in Blender, and I get a scale in Dash Studio, and then I'll go increase the height in Blender, and then I'll remesh the whole thing. Let's do that. Oh yes, about this scene, that's the other thing. I'm going to show you what I did there in a moment. When I started the render twice actually of this animation, and the first time I did it, the computer crashed halfway through. But it's kind of good that that happened, because I looked at the first few images, and the tunnel, when we go in, it didn't look dark enough. So like this bit here, that looked very washed out, and that's because if I go, as soon as DAS lets me do stuff, the way the scene is built is the tunnel is open at that end, and it's, when we look through this, the stray light was coming in here, and it didn't look great. Like at this end, this is where our camera is, and this is where we go in. And I put two planes on here just to make sure the stray light doesn't go in there. So the regular sun and sky that I put in, that just illuminated the tunnel into here, and that looked very washed out. So I just closed that off. The other option would have been to put a sphere on the outside and then just cut a hole into the sphere. But I thought this is easy enough, so that's it. We'll make a 3D enthusiast out of you yet. 3D professional, shall I say. No, you didn't miss anything, actually. You missed an unsuccessful installation of Blender 2.82, and that was basically it. Before I continue, I think I'm going to go and do some housekeeping here. So DAZ Studio has this weird feature that when I want to hide the scene because I want to look at other stuff, and I click this little eye icon here, the scene there's barely anything that gets hidden. So the first node is hidden, but nothing underneath this node is hidden. The groups, on the other hand, do not behave that way. So I'm going to go and just put this whole thing, Urban Future 7, into a group using create new group, and then I'll call this one. I'll call it just the set, and I'll turn both of these into that. I'm going to parent the selected item to the new group, and then this is now the set. Now I can switch that on and off. It's just easier for me to then, see what happens to the logo if I go and import that now in Urban 7 in geometry, and we'll look at some details. So it's not that big, so 98 meg, that's not that big, but I'll import it at 100%. I'll see what happens, just see how big that is in relation to the rest. Backdoor V2, I can barely see it. So that in relation to, yeah, okay, so I'm going to increase the size. That's good to know. Okay, let's get rid of it. And I'll go back to Blender, and let me go and extrude that a little more. So on the displacement modifier, the strength, I'll crank up the strength to 1 will be plenty. It will be ample. We won't even need all that much, but that'll be nice. So now at the end of all this, I can now add a remesh modifier. Do you think I should apply these modifiers? Might make sense. Just go apply them one by one. Yes, Rod, there can be. You can do all these things in Blender, both landscapes and trees. There's free add-ons that you can get for that. It's a little cumbersome to get used to, but you can literally create stones and trees and landscape just with a click of a button. Right, that's a good idea. So Shift D. Did I just press that Shift D? Was it Control D? Shall I use this rather? Did it not duplicate? It was Shift D, wasn't it? Shift D. There we go. Now it did it. That's perfect. Good. So I'll make the 000. I'm gonna hide that. Hide it, and this guy, I'm going to go and apply, maybe starting with this one here. Apply, and apply. Should I have done that the other way around? Should I have applied them from the top down? Looks like I should have. Good thing I've made a copy. Yeah, let's just do this again. All right. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Nice. So now we'll go add a remesh modifier. Great. I'll leave it like this. This is exactly the logo I was looking for. No, maybe not. So Octree, we'll go set that to something higher. Getting there. I wonder what that actually does under the hood. Octree. It's got to be something. It's got to be something. Octree depth of 9 is still not enough. That's bizarre. The chat overlay. Oh, Christina, thank you so much for letting me know. Let me take care of that. Oh, maybe I've switched them off accidentally. No, not the chat overlay. Oh, okay. Which overlays? Which overlays do you mean? The overlays in the, oh right, those, yeah, that's okay. Right, thanks for letting me know. I'm just not entirely sure why I'm only seeing like a little cropped version of this. Yeah. Where's the rest of the logo remesh modifier, might I ask? Should I keep cranking up the Octree depth here, maybe to 20? Is that going to help? Surely it's going to crash my computer. Oh, right. Thanks. As soon as Blender... It's a D. It's do, not poo. It's do. As soon as Blender becomes reactive again, I will switch that off. Octree depth of 20 is, of course... Yeah, thanks for the tip, Christina. This could take a while. Oh, you know, in the meantime, actually, while Blender is doing its thing, I've received an email from Twitch today. Apparently my rat emote has been approved. I haven't had a chance to test it out yet. I believe if you put WP Guru rat into the chat, let's try that. That should bring up the rat. Look at that. The rat's now part of the emote thing. That is so cool. Look at that. Now we can make custom emotes. That's really cool. Oh, look at him. Cute little guy. I don't know how else to bring him up. I think maybe it's the... Oh, there we go. You just click on that little smiley face icon. And there he is. So next to Justin Desenio's face and all that, we now have the WP Guru rat. That is so cool. Maybe we'll do that next time. We'll do a little chef's hat. So Octree depth, let's set that back to maybe 6, shall we? Now that Blender's just about alive again, it did not crash on me. Okay, so 6 was not what we wanted. Maybe it is. Was it 7? 7 better? Almost. Maybe let's use 8. Yeah, I can't quite make out his ear, so maybe I should have made him a little bit smaller. And don't remove the disconnected faces. There, okay. Well, let's try smooth shading. Maybe that'll make it even better. I think it does. What would you recommend, Christina? Shall we leave it like this, or shall we go and increase the octree depth? Okay, no problem. I don't know if we have a feature like DAS, like Blender has in DAS Studio, that I can replace a geometry with another one. I don't think we have that in DAS Studio. So if I go and I could use this as a kind of a placeholder icon while you send me the file. Auto smooth. What's the auto smooth? I know none of these things, I'm afraid. I'll just leave it as is. I just can't really. I know so little about things like remeshing objects in Blender. I'll go and call this one maybe V3. Unexpected EOF while parsing string 1+1. Oh, that's good, isn't it? So let's go and make that 100 times bigger. See what that goes like in the right panel. Sorry, can't find it. Well, since you're working on the file anyway, I'll just go and use this as a placeholder. And see if it in fact comes in. Backdoor V3. Oh, did I not select it? Did I accidentally not select it? Yeah, it's an empty node that's appeared there. Well, let's get rid of that. Hey Rod, and just when you thought you had learned them all, it's either things get changed so much that none of those things are applicable anymore, or you need to learn other things to make use of the things that you've just learned. Why did that happen now? That's never happened to before. Oh. And then also these moments where the application behaves completely different in the next moment, and you think, hey, I can't really tumble around the object anymore. I'm getting orthographic views here. I don't really know why. Those are also the things that you have to learn to stay really chillaxed at when that happens and not freak out. Maybe I'll just go and apply the remesher. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, I tried that. That didn't seem to work, Christina. Numpad 5 doesn't work. It's one of those things. Apply that modifier. Select this thing. I think there may have also been something I just didn't quite do the way I should have done it. I should have said selection only. Otherwise, you know, things don't work out so well. I'll just override this here. Perhaps I'll just go restart Blender because, you know, it looks like one of them bugs, y'all. Oh no, I didn't save, did I? I didn't save. That's a shame, isn't it? Oh well. Successful session so far. I really like that. There we go. That's brought something in. That's cool. How do you think you get a job at LucasArts? I wonder what you have to have done for them to say, hey, you know DAS Studio, you know Poser, man. Do you want to work on the latest Star Wars movie? It's probably not as easy as that, I would imagine. So, oh yeah, actually let's use this aux viewport and put the camera in here and put the, I'd love to be on the last frame of vision, but that will just screw up every single keyframe in the whole application. So I'm gonna have to be a bit more careful with that. Maybe angle that a bit. Let's put it right on the placemat here. Put it slightly higher so we get a bit more of a bevel going here. Great, let me go and hide backdoor V1. The light should still be applicable. I'll maybe make that a little bit bigger. There. That should do the trick. What does it look like on our last camera frame? I think so too, Rod. I think so too. So last frame of vision is actually nice. I think I'm thinking of just turning that, angling it that way. We can always tweak the final frame there. Will that look better? No, that won't actually look better. Cool. Let's do a material. I believe on the other one, on backdoor version 1, we used this red car paint. So I think I'll try and use something along those lines. Car paint cranberry. That was nice. There's also colored flint glass. We could try that. Maybe we'll try that. I just wanted to check if my camera headlamp is off. That's good. That's good. Let's go and save that as a new scene with version 6. So version 5 is the animation I've made. So today we're starting with version 6. This should be good. 16,000. Oh, but then 8.4 million hours of render time. That's not something they didn't just use one computer, right? They probably had 2 or more than that. Wow, that is crazy. But that is then where things become scalable. You think, well, if we need, I don't know, for the whole animation, say you needed 200,000 images, each image takes 10 hours to render. And you go, well, that's great. If we just have a million computers doing the same thing, who cares? Or NVIDIA need to make faster cards. So I think because I do like the idea of that being glass, I must say, that's very cool. But I think because it's a very wonky font as it is, I think having the reflection of the placemat come through, I don't think we're gonna be able to read what it says. So I think since we're using this font, I think I'm going to have something that doesn't have reflections. So otherwise, we'll just see the texture underneath it. That's true. There is the budget thing, Rod. That is absolutely correct. Let's try the cranberry car paint here. See what that looks like. I believe that's the cranberry. Yeah, there we go. Oh my God, it's perfection. No. That is nice. I do like that. And to be honest, I don't think we need anything other than this. It's just I think it looks good the way it does. If there's more geometry in this or not, I don't think anyone's gonna see that, to be really honest. Let's leave that. That actually looks really cool. I'm super happy about this. Let me go and switch to my actual camera and let's look at this in the last frame of vision here. We can then potentially even zoom into the, just position the camera that we can see this from slightly from an angle. Because this looks much better, I think, now if we just go and zoom in to this even more, that we have the full Monty of the backdoor 3D there. Let's see how I can do that with the camera selected. And this is definitely, this is not the test camera, this is the camera, right? Yeah, that's the camera. So I'll go and try and rotate, perhaps, what is that? That's the x-axis. Could that be the y-axis? Could that be the z-axis? And it's got to be the x-axis. But then also, where were we before? I remember now, the zooming effect is actually not happening with the camera movement. It's happening with the focal length. Isn't that correct? Yeah, focal length. The most sensitive slider on the planet here. Yeah, so perhaps 130 then. And then we'll just shift the position of this ever so slightly. With like that. And then we need to rotate this as well. Is it, no, yes, that's the one. Yeah. And then is it, yes, there we go. Yeah, so I think if we do this at a slight angle, if the camera at that point would be slightly further down, I think that would just be ideal. Oh yes, we're right above it, right? We're right above it. I get you. I get you, brother. I get you. Sometimes it's easier to just go and grab the camera and point it where I'm thinking it should be pointing, and then we'll just do the final framing through the camera. Whoops. Sometimes the controls are really not doing what I think they should be doing. So through that and in here, and then we're going to just go point that at that. And yes, so rotation is, no, my goodness. Rotation's behaving really weird. I might actually go back on my plan and not go and use the focal length variation. What did we have before? about 38. So maybe I'll go and put the camera slightly closer. So maybe I'll go and use 60 on the last frame. Yes, I don't even know on what angle the camera, what that is on right now. Yeah, that's just too Dutch there, isn't it? I don't actually know why it is that. If only it would react. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, Steve's font, it is a little bit, it's very arty. I'm not sure if we should, I suppose because it's a very long word, I'm inclined to put it diagonally, like slightly diagonally. At the same time, I'm also thinking it should maybe be more straight. So I could always go and just grab the logo and just rotate that a little bit more, like so. So that it is straight that way. I'm not really sure. What do you think? What do you think about it? I'm not entirely happy about the placement of it, but it would read what we're trying to portray at an angle. Hello, Marcos. How you doing? Good to see you. I think I might just go leave it like this for now. We can twiddle with the final frame of the animation as we go along. I think what I'd like to do now is add the little camera pan to the right while we're in the tunnel. Yeah, I think we may have to come back to this. I'm not entirely happy with what this looks like. So the movement in question is here at the beginning. I feel that when we come to this point here, I guess to this first keyframe here, I think we may just add another keyframe into the mix here. It feels to me as if we're going in a straight line, and I'd rather maybe at this point here, maybe at frame 100, or maybe even at frame, yeah, I don't think I want to interrupt that. I think maybe just about at frame 100, I think I'd like for the camera to just pan to the right a little bit. And then that would make camera pass here, camera pass there. It gives a little bit more movement in that. Parameters, there we go. With the camera selected. So this I don't exactly know that should be this. So we just turn this here as if we're going towards that. Oh, I see. And then we need another keyframe to make sure this now goes and turns to the left now. So that's nice. And now we need about here, maybe at 150, we would like the camera now to look to the left again. I think 200 might be a little bit too, is that too late? No, maybe 200 is okay, actually. Let's try that. Let's try at 200. If we go, there we go. Let's do that. Let's see. So we're looking right, and then we're coming in, we're looking left. We're not looking left enough. It's because I'm not actually keying in my keyframes here. Rotate needs to be selected, otherwise those keyframes are not gonna go there. Which is why my first one didn't quite work. It might also help if I move the starting position of the camera slightly further over here, I'm thinking. Oops. And then go and try this. And then we go and here. I think it just makes that tunnel a little bit more interesting. But I also think now that we're looking to the right, I think we see the picture here, but I think we need to, at this keyframe here, I think we just need to be further over to the right already. So we need to look more towards here, I'm thinking. Otherwise we might not see it's a tunnel. So then, because I've changed the last frame of the animation, I think I need one additional keyframe. Because the crash zoom now goes and goes towards the logo, but I think I need something like here where the logo goes out of vision. I'm thinking maybe like, yeah, like here where it's worse. 926. I'm thinking maybe I'll try just bring that, bring that back a little bit, like so. See if that works. Well, it certainly works. It certainly reveals it. I think we could do with a little bit more there. Let's try to do this, just so that due to the interpolation, I don't want the logo to escape. Right. See, now we do the same. We do this at the bottom. That the logo goes a bit too far at the bottom. So let me go undo that and do less extreme. Yeah, that works. That works. We can do that. We can do that. You need that tunnel, huh? Well, let me go and save this now, and see if we can add, if I can find something like a tuk-tuk car. Is there such a thing on the DAS store, or do we have a tuk-tuk car, like one of those things that they have in China? I'd like to put a car that just drives along, a bit like our Mars rover, in the background, just goes from left to right. Nothing fancy, just goes from left to right there. That might be quite nice. Let's see if we can find one. And also, let's see if what that's called. Is it called a tuk-tuk? Tuk-tuk Thailand. Oh, there we go. That's the one. No. What a shame. Do I have it? Maybe. Do I already have it? That would be even better if I have it in my large catalog of stuff. A rickshaw, that could be. Yeah, rickshaw is also good. Do we have a rickshaw? Ricky here. Rick Striker Power. Ah, what a shame. Is it a tuk-tuk? Do we have that? No. Do we have what have I got installed? That's another question. What have I got? Do I have any kind of cars installed under transportation? Oh, urban sprawl is in transportation. That's interesting. I didn't know that. There's some sci-fi things, like Stinger. Well, it could just be a hover thing. Could be a moon lander. Maybe the Skyrider. Oh, great! All right. This guy was here a few days ago, actually, and he had a different name then, but essentially saying the same. Yeah, let's take care of him. I'm gonna employ a chatbot, and any of these things like followers, they'll automatically get killed at that point, I'm thinking. Or it could just be a Yamaki car. I'm thinking maybe the little hover thing here, this guy, the Stinger. Let me go install him. And I'll go and yes, please, Rod, that'd be nice. I'll just go and hide the set, and I'll go load this guy here. Cockpit and undercarriage. Oh. There's poses. Oh, he's a bit. He's ever so slightly larger than we had thought he was going to be. It's actually a spaceship. It's not a little car. Oh, have I just created a keyframe here? That's unfortunate. No, I think I don't. I haven't. So yes, he's obviously larger than we need him to be. But it's cool. We can just go and make him a bit smaller and see if we park him over here in the back. Yes, apparently they have several kinds of services. One is that you get followers, but then there's another one that you actually get watchers. So I didn't know that service existed as well. That's kind of crazy. So for affiliate and partner status, you need a lot of concurrent viewers. And apparently there are now services that will make you that will watch your stream, like hundreds of people watching your stream. You think, what's the point, really? Sadly, I wasn't on frame 1, of course, so that's ruined whatever was on here. So I can probably get, there was a way that I can, under parameters, there's a way to go and let's go to frame 1. And if this ever happens, there is a way to delete all animations from the thing. And I believe it's on this little hamburger icon here. And then you get clear animation, clear selected. And that will remove all keyframes from this selected guy. Let me see if it works. It looks like it has worked. That's good. So now I'm on frame 0. Now I can position this guy correctly. And start all over again. So since even though we're in the future, how far over the ground do you think hover cars are hovering? Will they be high above the ground, or will they be kind of car height? So if we're watching the spectacle from here, is this believable? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Or does it need to be slightly higher? Maybe a little bit higher, like this. It's certainly the right size here, maybe a little bit larger, tiny bit larger. Man, there's only too large and too small. Maybe like that. So let's see where we're gonna encounter this guy in the animation. So I think we're gonna go past, he's gonna go past when we're here. So at that point, we just wanna see him go past. So maybe then at frame 400, he needs to be out of vision. And then from here to about here, he needs to pass. So by this frame, he should have gone. Like so. Yeah. So as we go, let's watch this on the large monitor. As we go and approach, coming out of the tunnel, looking at all these nice reflections, then we go, cars driving by. Nice. That should work. Car drives by. I like it. So then, of course, better late than never. Absolutely, Steve. I've just put a car into your back alley, so I hope this is going to look nice. Car goes by. It's actually so good that we could probably put 2 cars in it. Could be busy alley back there. Yeah, we could do this twice. See if we find another car. Let's go save this. Oh, there we go. We have a different material that we can use for him. That's nice. Those are 3D light materials, I believe. So I don't think they're but it's, since it's background action, I don't think it's yeah, it is. It looks like it's 3D light material, but I don't think I'm even going to convert it because it's just a thing that's rushing around in the background. I think maybe I'll leave it at one car. Actually, I like the idea of 2 cars. Let's make it 2 cars. So let's go and duplicate our stinger. I would imagine it duplicates all the keyframes with it as well, with node hierarchies. It has indeed. Okay, so that's nice. We can literally just, now they're moving in the same place here. So I like for the second guy just to start up slightly later. So I can just go, I would imagine, open the timeline a bit and just go and drag those keyframes over. Yes, that one and that one. So I'll just go, my plan is to just go do that with the stinger selected. There we go. And just go move that slightly further back. So hopefully then the first car should go and then the second car should go. It hasn't happened. Why is that? That's bizarre, because I've done that on the other stinger. There. That's what I'm thinking. So now first stinger comes, second stinger comes. That's nice. So second stinger can just go be behind a little bit. First stinger, second stinger. Haha, nice. More action. And then while this is all going so well, I'll go onto the first frame and have a look at, hide my first stinger. Make a sect unselectable. First stinger is hidden now. So the second stinger, I just want to have a look what he looks like with a different material, so that we have a different type of material on there, like the matte gray here. Let's try that. Great, so now we have 2 types of, 2 different types of cars. First one is red, next one is gray, right behind it. That's nice. My mouse has stopped working properly. Sometimes it does that. Often I just go switch it off and then put it back on. That often helps. Okay, let's have a look at what that looks like on the large screen. When we come out of the corridor, I didn't even see the first stinger. Come on, first stinger goes. And the second stinger also goes. I think maybe he could just go and do his thing a little bit earlier. What do you think? Or shall we? Yeah, maybe just a little bit earlier. Yeah, let's kick him off a little bit earlier. So first guy goes, second guy goes. Yeah, so we see a little bit more of him. Okay, that's good. I'm inclined to do the other background action that I talked to you about as well, but perhaps we're going to leave that for tomorrow. I'm thinking, I think this is kind of nice here. Steve, we have put the other logo in, the one that Christina has made. So let's watch the before and after thing. This is the before one. This is the render that we've seen in the beginning. Let's watch that. So what we've changed so far is the beginning of the animation. That's going to be a little bit more interesting with the camera going left and right better. There's now some background action in there. That's actually another idea. We could have the first stinger when we see this the first time, and then we can have the second stinger when we see it. It's also possible. And this looks a little bit different now because we have your logo in here. To bring that out better, I've adjusted the camera angle a bit, so I'm looking forward to what that looks like. So for the background action, we could have one stinger travel then at some point there, and then when we see this for the second time, we can have the second stinger travel. Maybe that's a good idea. Right. Okay. Well, we'll show Steve what that looks like in a moment. Actually, I like the splitting it up better because that. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that. Before I show you the logo, Steve. Before I show you the logo, while it's fresh in my head. So when we go, so we do this. So now we see this background thing. So maybe the first stinger should start somewhere here. It could just be out of vision at that point already. Let's try that. So stinger 2 is here. Move his 2 keyframes. Just move him to here. So that while we're seeing that, he's kind of vanishing out of vision. So we're going here. That stinger is, it's difficult to see in this view. Yeah, a little bit later. Start him off a little bit later. Yeah, so now that's perfect. That's perfect. So then we can have, when we're right slap bang in the middle of it, we can now have the other guy be here essentially. So we see the first stinger pass now. We move slowly over here. Then we go and see the second stinger pass. So busy back road there. I like that. I like that. Okay, perfect. Let me save that before anything goes wrong. And then, Steve, we're going to show you the logo. Currently unused material. Sure, why? Let's enjoy ourselves. So then we go do this, and here we now go and boom, arrive at backdoor 3D. I might slow this whole thing down at the end, and just to show you what it looks like rendered. It looks way more interesting than the texture shaded view. I use the same red car paint as well, and now it's actually your font, and it works quite well, I must say. Aha. So I'm thinking the whole back passage, just the camera move, I'll just slow that down. I think I'll make the whole animation, maybe instead of 1,000 frames, I'll make it 1,200 frames. And just the last 3 keyframes, I'll just go spread them out a little bit so that we just do that a bit slower. And then you can always rest on the last frame there for a few seconds. Yes, let's do that. Let's go and tweak those last few keyframes here, just so that this whole journey and the whole approach will be spread out a little bit more, because then this doesn't look so much like a crash zoom here. That should be easy to do by saying the total is now 1201, and then the range will be that plus that. And then we go and dig out the camera. Here you are. These are the keyframes for the camera. I'll go and take the last two actually. Move those here, and then I'll move this one and just go maybe put that here. See what that looks like. Whoa, okay, that doesn't look good at all. Too much interpolation, I think. Oh yeah, it's my second keyframe. I'll go and delete that one. Let's just see what it looks like. Just interpolate it from that into the next. Yeah, that's why I did that, isn't it? That's why I did that. Because we are losing the logo there. But I think rather than setting a second keyframe, I think I'm just going to go and mess with this one here and just make sure this keyframe is set better with that camera. And that will be the, I would imagine, the Y translation. And then the approach, we're just using a different approach then as well. So if we're happy with this, then in order to avoid the interpolation, again, I'm not going to add a second keyframe here. I'll just match this keyframe up and move it into that direction already, which I think is the X translation. Like that. So then it's more subtle and we don't lose that. Perfect. And then it's almost. Then we also do, on the same keyframe, we just make sure we're further up already. And that's now, is that Z translate? Like so? Is that it? A little bit extra X. Oh no, actually it's not X, is it more Z? Yeah. So there we go. I think that's nice. With the background action, we can try and put, I'm still thinking it would be nice to have a person wander down this road on the right hand side. That'd be kind of nice. I tell you, the only thing I'm thinking I want to mess with now is the fact that, so up until here, everything's nice. And then we're kind of focusing on this, which is nothing really. And then we're getting this into vision. So I'm inclined at this point to just play with the with the camera rotation a little bit more, just so that we are angling the camera towards something. It can either be the decoy that we're looking into the alley, or it can be the backdoor logo. So I'm thinking perhaps, because just ending here, there's just really nothing exciting here, you know. I'd either like to move over here already or go over there. So let me try, since the alley works, but this is where we're going. I wonder if we can just go and angle the camera towards this area already a little bit more. Let's try it out. So I'm thinking it's probably the Y rotation that I want to tweak and just adjust towards here. And then perhaps also, yeah, that may actually be enough. Yeah, we can probably even look further over to here. That might be nice. So then we're focusing on the fact that this is a little fruit stand here. I think that reveals the logo just much better. It's funny that my first reaction would be to add additional keyframes, but sometimes it's actually the preceding keyframe that then fixes any camera jolts. I think we have more direction now in where we're going. Ah, you're very welcome, Steve. 1200 frames. I'm now thinking that, I mean, this is not exactly real time. I'm now thinking that perhaps we can just move there a little bit faster. Let's just see how this goes. This is probably, we can probably better judge it when we go and see the animatic of this. So I'll let that render again overnight. Yes, this bit, I mean, if we could probably speed this up a little bit, but then at the same time, no, let's not actually. It's kind of nice to just go and sit down for a meal, essentially, sit down for a snack at the Chinese bar. Yeah, I think let's just leave it like that. Are you all happy with this? If you have any suggestions, please let us know. I mean, one thing I could see us doing is, aside from the walking creature that, like here on the right hand side, we'll think about that. I'm illuminating the logo right now with the point light. You can just about see that here, the white blob. That's a point light. That's another point light down here. What I could do is, I don't know how cool that's going to look. We can animate the point light so that it basically just passes, you know, when we're seeing the logo in close proximity, the last 200 frames perhaps, or even the last 100 frames, that the light just travels from here to there, that we just, you know, get a little interesting shadow play going. That might be something we can test out just to see what it looks like. Was it point light 2? I should really rename that. Say, instead of point light 2, I'll call it point light backdoor. Or actually point light logo rather. And this one's going to be the point light in the back. The back and logo. So then with this thing selected, I'll just go and move it left to right just to see the shadow effect, or the light effect that we can see, because if we just go and reveal that, just animate it maybe from left to right as soon as we start approaching that, I think that could be really cool. Let's do that. If I'm on the last frame of the animation, so this is how we're going to end. I've lost my pointer now. Was it just X? No, it wasn't X, was it? It was. Was it Y? It must have been, no, Y can't be. Y can't be. Maybe Z then. Was it Z? No. Sure, it was X. Oh, it's because. Is it? Let's try world. There, I can just about grab it here. Maybe it doesn't even have to be that much. So if we just leave that here as the last frame, and we just add maybe here, not even that, just like here. It'll be here. Starts here, and then we just go and just adds that little bit of extra attention grabbing. Let's go render it and we'll see what it looks like. I'll go kick this off overnight again, and then by the morning, Steve, we should have, well, by my morning, by your evening, you should have, you should see an animatic. How's that? Let's do this. Well, my friends, thank you so much for joining me again. I'll make this whole scene available on the Patreon site under the same post as before. Speaking of Patreon, there are save current unused materials. Yes. There are 2 more episodes of Streaming 101 available for Patreons. Currently, should be released sometime, in a couple of weeks or so on YouTube. Have a look at that. I will continue making stuff. We should meet again tomorrow. Same time, same place, for a little bit more 3D schnick-schnack and shenanigans. After my stream, by the way, Steve, I believe, is that still on? Let me know. You want to do a little test, I believe, from your location, a little streaming test at 7 p.m. So that's in about 15 minutes. Drop a link to your channel in the chat for anyone who wants to drop by and join the test. I'll be certainly there. I'm going to wrap it up now. See you all tomorrow. Have a good night.